Hi, welcome back to Novelsnook. For this week's video, I will be doing a book review on The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. So I finished this book like last week and I thought it would be a good idea to sit down and kind of share my thoughts with it. Just see if you guys have similar thoughts and opinions like I do on this book. I actually really ended up liking this book. I'm pretty sure I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads because it was one of those books that had me flipping the page so fast. I was so intrigued by this book. I thought the concept was very unique, very cool. It definitely had a very similar tone and vibe and kind of just an overall feel to it, like 1984. And actually, it does say that on the back of the book. It just says, just as the world of Orwell's 1984 gripped our imaginations. So it does make that parallel of those two books, which I read 1984, and immediately while reading this book I thought they have so many similarities with, you know, the characteristics of the I and Big Brother in that scenario. So at first, when I read the synopsis, I was like, okay, this is not going to be intriguing. This sounds really weird. I'm not about this book. I stick to like YA contemporary, where it's like a cute love story, teenagers falling in love, that sort of book. So when I picked this up and when I was asked to read this, I was very on edge and was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but I ended up really liking it and I'm really glad I read it. This book, if you don't know, it's basically this world where there is a decrease in population, so they use these women handmaids who are used for their ovaries. They are used to give birth to kind of increase the population growth, which is weird. It's a very, when you think of a population that is declining and you think of a population that is decreasing, I mean, the thing is, yes, let's have more babies, but the way they go about this and the way there are commanders and everything is situated where these women are basically property. Like, they are outlawed to, they can't read, they don't have these luxuries, they don't have anything. Everything is basically so strict with what they get to do. One thing I like about this book is that the narrator that we have, she explains her past and what she did have. She had a husband, she had a daughter, and she kind of shows us that past, explains to us how things are different, how this isn't the way things are anymore, how things were gripped and kind of taken away from her. And so all that she's left with now is the act of having babies. So it's very different. I really like it. The story progresses so like quickly, like I was like, oh snap, that happened, like holy crap. It's very satirical. It's very I don't know another word for enticing. Like, I am literally like, I was like holding it, I was like flipping, I was like, oh my god, what's going to happen? What's going to happen next? It's a book that keeps you going and a book that keeps you on edge the entire time. And I like books like that because I never want to get bored with a book. And that's something that I think, I mean, everyone doesn't want to get bored with a book. It's something that if a book can hold my attention, then it's a winner. But if a book is slow, if a book drags on with every concept, it's really hard for me to continue on with it, not just DNF it. With this book, it is so fast-paced. The chapters are so short. Like, I'm pretty sure they're at least like 4 to 5 pages of a chapter on average. And that's great. I love short chapters because it just shows your progress and it shows something new happening in each chapter, which is amazing because it keeps that imagination flowing. It keeps that storyline and that plot to advance and to progress, which is something that I like to see in a book. When something, you know, like I said, when it's slow and it drags on, kind of like Jane Eyre. That book is, I mean, it's a fantastic book. It has an amazing plot. Great characters. I love the character development with Jane and it's truly wonderful. But it's such a a slow book that drags on so much. And it's like, this book is the complete opposite. It's really amazing. I really do like it. I do recommend it. We actually had this discussion because it's very raw. I don't know how else to describe it. There are sexual scenes, there are language that it's, you know, heavy on the language, but I would still recommend it, and I still think students, maybe in like AP literature and AP composition, things like that, I think they should be required to read it. I think people don't want you to read it because of the raw and the how straightforward this book is and the language it is. You know, there are a few F-bombs and there's, you know, there's language that is in there, but it's not just made to put in a swear word. It's deliberately put into place to advance the plot. She doesn't use the language to just use it. She uses it to progress what she's wanting to say, to really emphasize the character's mood, the character's tone and development. So I would recommend it, even if, you know, there was one of this, I did have one of my friends refuse to read it because of her beliefs and because of her religion, and kind of she didn't want to read it, which is fine. You can choose whether you want to read this book or not, but I still would recommend this. It gives great freaking messages. It connects so well with what's going on today, kind of like that. You see the women marches, and you see the overall kind of, I don't want to get too much into the political sense because it's not who I am. It's not something that I want to get into, but this book is very political, and I think it connects well with the political overall structure that we have going on today. It's nowhere near, I mean, this is where like men dominating women. It's not as heavy today as that, but it still has great parallels to what's going on today. It has great connections of gender roles and the overall kind of connection we have with male versus female. So there are so many moments in this book where I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe that just happened. I don't want to give any spoilers away because I do really want people to read this. This is a spoiler-free review. I'm not gonna go into detail about anything that happens in the book because I really want readers to read this, and I really want people to be surprised when you read this. I was freaking surprised. I will say that the ending leaves me, the ending leaves you with questions. It really just leaves you wanting to know more. And I actually just learned that they have a show on Hulu, and they're making a second season that branches off of the first season, which kind of correlates with the book. So I'm pretty sure I need to watch that because there isn't a second book to this. It just ends. And I'm left hanging, and I'm left wondering what the heck just happened. So I'm definitely going to check that series out. And if any of you have watched the series on Hulu, let me know in the comments below how you like it, and if it's any good. Should I watch it? I know my friends watch it, and they were like, well, some of it correlates, some of it doesn't. So I'm like, I really enjoyed the book, so I don't know if I want to watch the show and be completely disappointed, but I do really want to watch it just because it advances the plot and I want to know what happens. I really wish there was like a second book of, you know, what happens next, but there's not. Read the historical notes. Do not skip them. Do not pass those by. Just don't end the book until you finish reading those. They help to complete the book, to have an overall perspective of the book. So read those. Please read this book if you haven't already. I really liked it. There's definitely going to be different opinions. There's definitely going to be some opposing opinions because this book is it brings up topics that are strong and are very debatable on your views of life. So definitely read this, check this out. I definitely recommend it. Like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. Probably one of the best books I have read that really just make you think about how the way the world works, and is this something that could happen in the future? I mean, the setting of this book is very, you know, drastic and very, very different. It's not anything we've seen, but this could happen in the future. We don't know. So, and I think that was her perspective. I think that's what the author was going for. This is what's going to happen in the future. It didn't happen, but it could. There's still that possibility that maybe somewhere down the line that this could happen, and let me tell you what, we better be ready, and I think we'd be prepared because this novel offers us that take on that world. So, like I said, if you have read this book, leave a comment down below your thoughts on it if you have read it, and let me know down below if you haven't read it and what's your kind of reason why you haven't decided to pick up this book. Let me know. Like I said, this was a spoiler-free just because I want people to read it with an open mind. I don't want to give any sort of spoiler out there. I don't want to say, yeah, and then the main character dies, because then it's just, once you know that spoiler, it doesn't make you want to read the book as much as not knowing. When it's a mystery, when you're kept wondering what's going to happen, you definitely read more. You read faster, you read more because you want to know. You want to know what happens. So, no spoilers, spoiler free, but please check this book out. I definitely recommend it. It sounds great. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. I loved, you know, making it. I love talking about books that I've just read that are fresh in my mind, that I'm like, yes, this is a strong, compelling book. Let's talk about it. So like this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I will see you guys next time with another book-related video. Bye. Like this book. Read it. It's amazing. I mean, I don't know much about books, but I can tell you right now, this is a great one. Did she win an award for this? I never want to get book. No. So, no, that was bad. Ow, my freaking hand. So, let's try this again, shall we? Alright, my camera just shut off. I don't know where I left off. I was talking about the historical. Okay, so, splendid. Me too. Why am I keep going? I'm done.